You should see a picture. This is an old one. This has been in a lot of psychology books. And can you tell me what you see? Okay. So the old lady, a bulldog. Wow. Yeah, I can see how you might see that. A little bulldog or a chihuahua. Yep.
Is that what the dog is called in the first place? Chow.
It could be a chow. Yeah. But what you should be looking for is, or what's the other one? The Japanese one. I mean Chinese one. Shar-Pei. It could be a Shar-Pei. Yeah, but what you're looking for here is a young lady and an old lady. Does anyone not see the young lady? Okay.
I see her with her head turned like this.
You don't see it? Okay.
Yep, I see her. Now where do we see the old lady?
The whole nose.
Do you see the old lady? You don't see the old lady? Okay.
I see the young lady because she's turning her head looking.
Okay, so you see the young lady, she's got her head and she's turning. Well, the old lady is kind of scrunched up like this with her head down and her nose is protruding. And the necklace of the young lady is the mouth of the old lady. Do you see it? All right.
Horrible hairdo.
Yes, with a horrible hairdo or head wrap. Right?
Oh, got it.
Got it?
I really, yeah. At first I missed it, like, couldn't I?
Yeah, just like when we did the activities earlier today. Your mind, we're brilliant. We're just absolutely brilliant. Our mind will block out the stuff that is not necessary or the things that we don't see that don't benefit us, and it attracts those things that benefit us. And likewise, we can switch it when those things that didn't benefit us before now become important to us. We see those things and block out the things that are not important to us. What's one of the things, those pit bull terriers, right, kind of have a bad rap, right? What's one of the things they have a bad rap for?
Lockjaw.
For lockjaw. And what exactly is that?
When they fight, their jaw locks in place.
Yeah, when they bite down on something, their jaw locks in place. And why would that be bad? Yeah, because if it's on your leg and you want it off, it's not coming off, right? Yeah, very much the same way our mind can do the same thing for us. Sometimes we can lock onto a way of thinking or a way of doing things, and it becomes harmful because we can't change, or we won't allow ourselves to change, or we don't think we can change. And we'll talk more about that in just a minute. Our classes, our time together. And basically, that is creating your visions and goals for yourself, creating action plans to go with those, and affirmations. And so I'll talk about that right now. Each week we'll go over this, and I'll give you a little bit at a time so that it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, as I'm going through it, say, hey, Andre, I don't understand you. Please slow down, say it again, blah, 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 blah. So we'll start with that Henry David Thoreau quote, if you build castles in the air, that is where they should be. Now build foundations under them. So what would be a castle in the air? What do you think would be considered a castle in the air? Your dreams, right? Why a castle instead of a mansion?
Bigger than a mansion.
A castle is definitely bigger than a mansion, right? A castle is where you have your gold stockpiled, and you got a brig, and a dungeon, and all sorts of secret hiding places, and you can put a really big screen TV in a yes, you have albatross hidden in the basement. But your castle in the air is your vision, and a vision is your dream. your ideal situation. It's the perfect. So when you're writing your paper, it does not have, the things you write in your paper do not have to be realistic in any kind of way in terms of your vision. It can be the most perfect situation. An example, I, Andre Cohen, will be a movie star in a major action gangbuster movie by, well, I'll just be an action hero star. You know, can you see me? All right, that's my vision. It's not based in reality in any way, and it doesn't have to be, because it's the perfect, it's the dream, it's the ideal. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of that vision and bring it into reality, and that's called a goal. So a goal is a piece of the vision brought into reality. All right? So a goal does take part of that. It makes it more real. Yes, sir.
Are we just reviewing this because we did this last week?
Yep, I'm just reviewing it because I have a couple of people to catch up. Plus, I want to go to the next peel on the onion with us. All right. So that's the goal, which is the piece of the vision brought into reality, and then we take that goal and we plug it into our real lives, and we come up with what are goal statements. And last week's cliffhanger, if you recall, was WWWM for goal statements. And basically, what that stands for is words, want, workable, measures. All right? So your goal statement should have these 4 specific things for them to be appropriate as goal statements, okay? They have to have specific words. Say exactly what you want to say. There's a difference between being a good basketball player and being an excellent basketball player, all right? Good versus excellent, okay? There's a difference between an apple and a Granny Smith apple, right? There's that particular stuff. Want. It has to be something that you want to do even when it gets tough. All right? So when things get challenging, it's something that you want to do. Workable. Do you have the resources to get it done? Or do you know where to get the resources to get it done? Can you imagine yourself doing whatever that thing is that is your goal? Is it workable? And then measures. How will you know when you've accomplished that? Do you measure it by a percentage? Do you measure it by a date or a time? How do you measure your success? When will you know that you've accomplished your goal? Okay? So that was last week's cliffhanger. And then we have actions and tasks. Actions are the big steps, and tasks are the little steps. So let's say that, let's take me as an actor as our example. We'll use that as our example. I want to be an actor, so we'll use this. Want to be an action hero. Is this, based on this criteria of words, want, workable measures, is this a goal statement? So let's look at this. Is this a goal statement based on words, want, workable measures? So I want to be an action hero. All right? What are the specific words? What kind of action hero? Do I want to be on TV? Do I want to be in the movies? What kind of action hero do I want to be?
An action hero.
What kind? Do I want to be on TV? Do I want to be on cable? Do I want to be on network TV? Do I want to be on a movie? Okay. So I want to be a movie action hero. Okay. The language is rough, but we'll work with that. Okay. Is it something that I want?
Yes.
Yes, because I said that I want it. All right. Is it something that's workable? So tomorrow I can walk up to a studio and be like, look, I'm an action hero.
No, you gotta take little steps, but you gotta take acting classes, you gotta go to community
Okay.
theater.
So it is in the realm of possibility that if I did those other things, I could become an action hero. Okay? Where's the measure in this? How is this measurable?
You're done when you're an action hero.
When does that happen?
When you get hired in a movie.
When?
After all your classes, all your...
When you're.
You wanna be an action hero by the time you are, does that need to be in there?
40.
Okay. So I could say by the time whose age? By age 40, whose age? It says I want to be a movie action hero by age 40.
My age 40, your age 40.
Whose age should this be? If this is my goal, so it's mine. By the time okay, I can say all of that. When I'm going to tell you a secret. I'm currently 32 years old. So by the time I'm 40 will be what year? What year will that be?
2011.
All right. So I could skip all of that and say by 2011. All right. So is this now a goal statement based on words want workable measures? Yes, because we have measures. It's specific. I say, I can even say what kind of directors I want to work with, what kind of set I want to be in, if I want to be in a martial arts or, whatever. I can set all that stuff in there. It's definitely something that I want. If I do some other things, this is workable in this time frame, okay? And there is a measure. So by 2011, if I haven't done it, then I know that I have not accomplished my goal, okay? So what might be the actions for this, the big steps? What would be the big steps for doing this?
Take some acting classes,
Acting classes.
some kind of small theater,
So doing some
give agent.
theater, agent, auditions.
Work out, get in good shape.
Hey, what do you mean? I already hit that part down. Okay. So those would be the big steps. What would be little steps? So let's take this acting class. Let's break this down into smaller steps. What might be the smaller steps for acting class? All right. Well, first I might have to sign up for one, right? Pay for it.
You have to have a job, part-time job, or
Okay.
go work.
Make sure you're considering it.
Yeah, make sure I can schedule it right, blah, blah, blah. All right. So do you see how these relate? So these are the tasks for the acting class. And then I could have tasks for the theater, whatever. All right. And I could also have tasks for agent, how to get an agent, blah, 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 blah. All right. Does that make sense on how to do that? Okay. So we'll talk more as the weeks go on about being more specific about those things. All right. And then lastly, we talked about affirmations, and affirmations link us all the way back to our original vision. All right? And those are what? How do we define those?
Statements of fact.
Statements of fact. All right? Even though they may not be now, this is a statement of fact that will propel us into the future. Okay? So, let's move on to lesson 1. First of all, what is a paradigm? What did we say paradigm was? How you see the world. So a paradigm is how you see the world. What is a scotoma? What is a scotoma? We talked a little bit about that last week. It's in chapter 1 in your book. It's on page, what page is that? 1. A scotoma is a blind spot. Remember last week go ahead, I'm sorry.
Something you can't see, something you do without noticing it, like that.
Yep. Last week we did an exercise with a card, and we had to count the number of F's. And we also had some optical illusions, where in some cases it was difficult for people to see one image versus the other image. And part of that is because we have blind spots that, and oftentimes people who've had our best interests at heart have conditioned us to either see things or not see things. Okay? And what is conditioning? So conditioning basically is a learned response to a behavior or condition. All right. So in the instance of OF versus FOR, we have been conditioned when we see no, let's do this. This works better. We've been conditioned to say, when we see OF together, to say what? Of. OV, right? That's just part of our conditioning. And when we see OFF, we've been conditioned to say what? Off, which is, all right? Is that 2 words or 1? Which word? Oh, I'm sorry. To a behavior. I was writing kind of fast. A behavior. So learned response to a behavior or condition. So conditioning. All right. So when we see OF, we hear OV. And when we see OFF, we've been conditioned to see OFF, off. So why do you think, what's the relationship between these 3 concepts? What do you think? What's the relationship between those 3? Yes? Yes. Scotoma and conditioning affect your paradigm. Can you give me an example? Okay, so racism. So expand on that.
They taught that certain type of people is not good, that's really
Yeah, and that's both of those. That's a really good example. That if you are trained as a small child or even as a teenager to see people in a certain way, in terms of race or ethnicity, then that definitely will affect your paradigm, how you see the world, how you see yourself interacting with them, and how you see them interacting with you. I'm going to put that in my pocket and save that for later. That was a good example. Yeah. What's the so we'll go further with that in just a bit.